Let's talk about combat and conquest in Legacy of the Stars. We are looking right now at the handy dandy cheat sheet, which you will have at your disposal during the game if you should forget any of this. But combat is actually pretty simple. So first of all, each different type of unit or building has either a combat strength or a defensive strength, and they're all listed here. Cruisers have 1 combat strength, outposts have 2 defense, dreadnoughts have 3 combat strength, colonies have 4 defense. A defense platform can add 2 to the defense of an outpost or a colony. Everyone's homeworld starts with a defense platform, so homeworlds are a bit harder to take. And if you should decide to tangle with an Exalted Guardian, they have 8 strength. But if you kill one, you get a Legacy of the Exalted, so it's probably worth it. So let's look at an example of how combat goes down. So combat between ships operates on the principle of equal exchange. That means that the same total strength of ships on both sides are going to die in any combat, no matter what. So there's no dice, there's no unequal distribution, there's no uncertainty. So, for instance, if I were to deploy the fleet right now, I play a move action, I can move all of my ships 1 space and I can initiate combat or conquest. If I should choose to move a ship into a place where there's an enemy, I can decide to initiate combat. And if I do, I just remove ships with equal strength from both sides. These go back into your fleet supply. They don't go just off into your bag or somewhere. They go back into your fleet supply so that they're available to build again. They get recycled like that. So I could potentially do that, but I probably don't want to. If I move in here, for instance, also, equal exchange will take place. I can exchange this 3 strength for my guys. 3 strength, 1, 2, 3. They all go away. They're all dead, exchanged equally. And the one exception to this rule is what happens when you can't have an equal exchange. What if a dreadnought moves in on a cruiser? 3 cannot be exchanged equally with 1. In that case, a retreat happens. After we've done all possible equal exchanges, if nobody's been eliminated, there's still ships of both factions in the sector, then whoever has the least strength in the sector has to run away to some friendly place of their choice nearby. This guy's got a lot of options to retreat because he's in his own territory, so he might fall back to his homeworld. But he can't stay there in the face of a greater strength. The one exception to that rule, there's one exception to the exception, is, if on a future turn this guy moved in here, if there is a colony or a defense platform present, then a ship can choose to stand its ground and just basically retreat behind fortifications and contribute its combat power to the defense of the planet. So I would have to bring 4, 5, 6, 7 strength worth of ships to bear in order to destroy this homeworld with that cruiser there. So let's talk about Conquest now, because Conquest operates on a similar principle. Let's say my ship is here, he's by himself with this outpost that has 2 defense, he has 3 strength. So during Conquest, the person whose turn it is, who can initiate Conquest, says, I'm initiating Conquest, and then they have to sacrifice ships with at least, doesn't have to be exactly equal, you're allowed to overkill using a dreadnought to kill a outpost if you want, and then a couple of things happen. So let's say I use my dreadnought, I conquer this thing. The first thing that happens is there is some spoils that get distributed. You learn something from the experience of conquest. Both sides learn something. It's a kind of cultural exchange. So each side is going to get 1 data in spoils. That's the first thing. The second thing is you replace the outpost with your own outpost. You get that, and that doesn't come from your readied outposts box on your player board. That's a brand new outpost, as though you had just changed the color of the one that was already there. Then, the last thing that happens is you might be able to get glory at the end of the turn if you conquer someone. And we'll talk about glory and vengeance in another video. But the most important thing that can also happen during Conquest is earning legacies of extermination. So to earn a legacy of extermination, you have to do one of two things. You have to either destroy a colony, or you have to raise 3 outposts. So if you destroy a colony, it also becomes an outpost. So if I were to conquer that, it would also become an outpost. And when you conquer something, you have the option to raise it. You have to pay a resource, a red, in order to raise that outpost. So why would you pay a resource to destroy your own newly created outpost? The reason is that if you do that 3 times in a turn, you can also earn a legacy of extermination. So if I had a ton of ships and I conquered 3 planets in the same turn, and I had 3 of these guys that had all just been created, I could raise all 3 of them, and that would also earn a legacy of extermination. So 2 ways to get the legacy of extermination are raise 3 outposts in the same turn, or destroy a colony.